Greetings, summoners! Welcome back to my second video for the Snowball series. As I mentioned last time, these videos are meant to look at what you can do individually to hold and secure an advantage you created earlier in the game. With that being said, here we go. This time around, we'll be looking at middle lane. You stand as a pillar for your team and have access to just about every objective relatively quickly. There are a strong amount of intricate things that may be done when ahead, but we are going to look at the principal ones: pressure, invasion, and roaming. Unlike top lane, denying in middle lane is much more difficult to accomplish due to the length of the lane. It can be done, but it's much easier to focus on pushing your opponent out of lane or killing them. You should look to push your opponent to their tower if you have a lead on them. This will force them to last hit under tower. To ensure these last hits, they may have to expend precious mana. All the while, you can use your own mana to harass them. Certain champions in middle lane have the ability to steal the blue wraith from over the wall. This is a first step towards jungle invasion, but lowers the overall risk you must take. Look to pick it up when your opponent is out of lane or stuck farming at their tower. Make sure that while you are pressuring, you keep the sides of the lane warded. It is advisable to pick up a ward for both sides when your escape summoner or important champion-specific spell is down. The main objective of pressuring is to either be forcing your opponent back to base, or in a position where he cannot roam. As noted previously, you can pick up the blue wraith over the wall with many champions. If you can't, you can look to head to the camp directly when you have applied sufficient pressure to your opposing mid lane. If you force your opponent under tower or back to base, the only encounter you may have is with their jungler. Generally speaking, this is not something that should worry you. You can also force the mid laner to follow you by stepping into his jungle. If you are strong enough to survive on your own, or your jungler is there to support you, you will effectively make your opponent sacrifice important last hits and minion experience to their tower, thus inherently furthering your advantage. When already in a dominant position, pulling people to you can be bait for a trap, in which you look to pick up a kill on either the jungler or mid laner. This will also give your jungler the chance to invade with little risk of his own jungle being stolen. It is important to keep constant pressure, all the while taking enemy camps, as well as allied camps that your jungler offers you or is unable to clear at that point in time. Eventually, this pressure will lead to you taking middle tower, which leads to much easier invasion, and our following point, roaming. It is not necessary to have knocked down middle tower to roam. Significant pressure will allow you to roam at will and keep the burden of following you on your opponent. If you can't roam to gank bottom, you can force them to you by making a play on dragon with your jungler and allied bot lane. Roaming top is not as valuable as roaming bot generally. Just in terms of potential gold, you have an extra champion in bottom lane, as well as dragon nearby. While you can lane gank or run up the river in many situations, sometimes it's much better to go a slightly more complex path in order to ensure a successful gank. When you are blue side, if you wish to gank top, you can go through the enemy jungle from the raid ramp and behind their red buff. For gank bottom, you can go through their jungle, around their blue buff, and show up behind their turret. For purple or red side, you do basically the same, only top and bottom are reversed. You go through the jungle and behind red for bottom, and around blue buff and behind the turret for top. Always remember to return middle to apply pressure and pick up your last hits. When not given chances to invade, roam, or force dragon, you can always seek to farm mid and pressure their first or even second tier tower. As a closing note, I just wanted to remind everyone that while in mid lane you do have many more opportunities to actually make big plays, you also accrue many more chances of failure and face much higher risks. So be careful out there, and thanks for watching.